Hello there, I'm Myrna Loy, author of Lovers Rock More Than a Dance Floor, which is what I'm reading from. And one of my subscribers asked me to talk about England in the 1970s and the 1980s. And I thought, rather than kind of do a lot of research on it, I would just talk about my experience. And I thought, what better way to do that than by kind of reading the book so that he could hear and other people could hear. The version of the book, this one here, is only obtained by me. This is the condensed version, and the more comprehensive version, which includes political, economical aspects of the 1980s, can be bought on Amazon. It's the same title, Lovers Rock More Than a Dance Floor. So, first time in passing, you've just happened to be led to chapter 5 and have missed 1, 2, 3, and 4, and you're wondering why I'm wearing glasses. It's because I developed a corneal ulcer and it's being treated. It's responding well to treatment, but my eyes are still a bit sensitive to light, so I'm temporarily wearing the glasses. And so, let's go. So I'm now on chapter 13. I haven't got much more to go, and I think I can probably finish chapter 13, and this will be the last video. Let's hope so. So this is called One Dance Won't Do. I was 17 when I met Simeon at a dance. Simeon stood out with his clean, smooth and sharp look. He had a satiny dark skin, low-cut hair with a bladed parting. I remember him clearly as if it was yesterday. He wore a white shirt, a silvery grey tonic suit, black polished shoes and a tenuous smile. I can remember now how he looked, but I can't remember the words he used to entice me into his embrace, or what made me fall in love with him. I can only remember feeling good dancing with him. Simeon gave me everything I had been missing in a dance: warmth, endearments, compliments, tenderness. I was hungry for it. As a young adult, I didn't realise that I was trying to replace what I had been missing growing up. And while everyone who was in the arms of a stranger looked the same, they probably had different experiences, different needs, and different desires. One dance wasn't enough with Simeon. Every time the music stopped and I went to walk off, he pulled me back and I couldn't say no. We danced all night until my friends nudged me and told me they were ready to leave. I didn't want to leave him behind. I wouldn't go home with him. Even though he asked me to, I had to leave with my friends I came with. We didn't have mobile phones back then. Many of us still lived at home. It was a kind of arrangement. If some kind of arrangement was not made at the time you said your goodbyes, it would be down to fate whether or not you met each other again. Some of us took down the telephone number of the telephone booth near our homes, just in case we needed to give it to someone. The problem with that was, if a member of the public wanted to use the phone at the same time you expected the call to come in, it would spoil your plans. Back then, we had early sessions at clubs. At the Railway in Harrow, not too far from Harrow Wealdstone Station, it was open from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. in the afternoon. At Ballyhigh in Brixton, which used to be opposite the police station, it was the same time. I wasn't able to venture out that far, so Neasden Centre was where I would go if I had to meet someone. Chapter 14. Love Won't Let Me Wait. As I started leaving, Simeon pulled me back by my coat. I want to see you again, he stated. I shrugged. I don't know if I can. Which area you live? He asked. Neasden, I said. I'll meet you 5 p.m. next Saturday at Shannon's Corner in Neasden. You had better be there, he said assertively. I smiled and left the dance, turning my head once to look at him before I was out of sight. He winked at me and smiled. We met up that Saturday as prearranged and learned that we worked opposite each other in West Hendon, which is northwest London. He was working as a car mechanic in a small garage, and I was working as an import-export clerk in the large brick building opposite. It was fate. We saw each other every lunchtime and after work. Sometimes even before work. We couldn't let a day go by without seeing each other. I remember feeling so cared for, so loved, so happy. It felt like love. When my mother realised I was seeing Simeon, she asked me to bring him home to meet him. I'm sorry I did, because Mum made it obvious that she didn't like him. She was very critical. My mother tried to stop me from seeing him. "Wanga gallivant, see where you end up," my mother warned. "Barefoot and pregnant." My mother tried to convince Simeon, claiming that I was too young. But when you're young and in love, age doesn't factor into your decisions. Simeon would stand outside my mum's house every weekend, beckoning me to come, and so he could see me. I would indicate through the window that I couldn't come out. I hated seeing him so forlorn. I got frustrated at being prevented from seeing the man I wanted to be with, and love wouldn't let me wait until my mother was ready to give me permission. So I told my mum I registered to go to the army. I did register, but a domestic issue meant they could not accept me. But I didn't tell my mum that. My mum didn't really want me to go into the army, but I think she would have agreed to anything to get me away from Simeon. For her, Simeon was bad news. Chapter 15. Let's stay together. Believing her criticism unjustified, I was determined to show her that she had got Simeon all wrong. Maybe if my mother had used reverse psychology and told me that she liked him, I would have avoided him like the plague, but her animosity towards him propelled me towards him. We decided to run away to Birmingham so we could be together. Birmingham is located in the West Midlands in England, and we got a room in the southeastern part of Birmingham in a town called Small Heath. Simeon chose Small Heath because he had a cousin called Jason who lived there, and with his girlfriend Patsy. It was great. Simeon made me feel so special, and every day he would tell me how much he loved me. We promised we would stay together forever. At last I had Simeon all to myself. However, he started meeting up with Jason and going to London to rave, leaving me by myself. I didn't like that. I made friends with Jason's girlfriend Patsy, who was in a similar position to me. Simeon became more possessive after we moved. I'm not quite sure why. The more time we spent together, the more possessive he became. The person I met on the dance floor was a lot different to the person I'd moved to Small Heath with. Chapter 16. Guess who's coming for dinner? Simeon was missing his mother's cooking, and I think he was missing London as well, even though it was his idea to move to Small Heath. When we make decisions to move out of an area, we are making a decision to discard the familiar, those things that make us feel comfortable and safe. Change presents challenges, and if you're not prepared for the challenges, you will not be prepared for the change. Simeon yearned for the familiarity of a Sunday get-together. Maybe that would help him not to feel homesick. At very short notice, Simeon told me he was inviting Jason and Patsy over for Sunday dinner, and that they wanted me to cook rice and peas and chicken for Sunday dinner. I'd never cooked anything before, and I didn't have the phone number for anyone I could have asked. My mother used to be quite territorial in the kitchen, and she cooked in a very ad hoc way, but the food always tasted delicious. There was no uniformity in my mum's cooking. She wouldn't weigh anything. She would just throw in seasoning and taste, and never use the same seasoning twice. It was trial and error. I had watched her several times, but because she had a haphazard routine, I couldn't maintain enough interest to understand her technique. I didn't know how to tell Simeon that I couldn't cook, and decided to blag it. Simeon went out and bought the ingredients for the Sunday dinner. A packet of CR kidney beans, a packet of coconut cream, different packets of seasoning, onions, tomatoes, a bottle of corn oil, and a whole chicken, and placed them proudly on the kitchen table. "You going to be okay?" "Ils sont comme. Now go pick up Jason and Patsy, he shouted before he closed the front door behind him, not waiting for an answer. There was no YouTube or Google to consult. I couldn't call my mum and ask her, as she would have chimed, "I told you, man only know if I find you in a kitchen or the bedroom. Look at you, nice looking young girl, 17 years old, asking me about how to cook. You should be studying. You should be planning a trip around the world. You should have met a lawyer or a doctor." She would have had a field day. My mother only gave me compliments when she was cussing me. The only time I knew that I was good looking or that I had hope in the future, but I'd wasted it or destroyed it, was when she was telling me I'd done something wrong. I put the peas in the water to boil and watched the water go dark red. I remember seeing my mum's water go dark red, so that was reassuring. I looked at the chicken and held it up scornfully. I put it on the table and pretended it was going to crawl. It looked like a baby without a head. I stopped daydreaming and indiscriminately shook the various seasoning from their respective packets over the chicken, like I'd watched my mother do. Rubbed it all in, poured some oil over it and put it in the oven. I didn't know what number to put it on, so I put it halfway and decided I would keep an eye on it. I used the Bristol cubes to make some gravy and felt quite proud of myself. After the peas had been boiling for about 15 minutes, I poured the rice in the water and let it cook. I had a bath, got dressed, and was ready when Jason and Patsy came back with Simeon several hours later. I placed a nice plastic tablecloth on our small table and set out the food. It looked so good. "I'm starving," laughed Simeon, rubbing his hands. I loved to see him smile. It softened his whole countenance. When he didn't smile, he looked so unhappy and serious. "I've made some Guinness punch to go with it," I announced proudly. And just as I was about to take it in, I heard a loud crash, and Simeon shout, "I want a blood clot." I'd never heard Simeon cuss like that. I heard another bang, and when I went into the room, he had thrown his plate on the floor. The food and gravy had splashed everywhere. The next-door neighbour was banging on the wall, and Jason and Patsy were looking at each other. "Oh, where the pussy clot you learn for cook?" he shouted at me. The neighbour started banging our bedroom door. "I'm going to report you to the landlord," he said. That was all I needed. Tears streamed down my face and I started quivering. What could I possibly have done wrong? I stopped there snivelling, waiting for an explanation. "The peas them hard like rock. The chicken have the giblets in it. And it full of feather." In my head I'm thinking, peas are hard? But I was boiling it for 15 minutes. Giblets in it? What are giblets? Feathers? I didn't see any feathers. Thoughts were ruminating, and the most disconcerting thing was Simeon's face. He looked so disappointed. "I got back to my mother yard." "Yes, sir." Jason and Patsy were still quiet. "Please don't go, Simeon. Please don't go. I did try to cook, but I didn't know how to tell you I couldn't cook," I bawled. "You're a woman. You should know how to cook. What kind of foolishness is that? Every woman should know how to cook. For them man. How come you don't know that? You're too workless." I watched Simeon pack. I was still apologising, but he wouldn't hear it. Within 10 minutes he was gone. He couldn't love me, I thought. He could never have loved me. If he loved me, he would never leave me alone like this. Patsy hugged me. Jason didn't know what to do or what to say. "I'm so sorry," said Patsy, and I started wailing. Jason must have felt awkward because he went through the front door and lit up a cigarette. I could see the waft of smoke from the corner of my eye. What did I know anything about taking the giblets out or burning off feathers? They both left me to clean up the mess. My days of happiness turned out to be a nightmare. I decided I would look for a job and get a job at the shoe shop. It was enough so that I could pay the rent. I couldn't go back to live with my mother. She would never have me back. Well, Maybe she would, but I would have to promise that I would never speak to Simeon again, and I wasn't prepared to do that, even after what I'd just been through. Simeon returned 2 weeks later and said he was sorry he reacted in the way that he did, and that he would have to teach me to cook. And he did. Chapter 17. Caught you in a lie. One night Simeon and Jason planned to go to Burton's in London, which was a nightclub. Jason picked up Simeon at around 8 p.m. and they left. I gave them about 10 minutes and then called Patsy. There was a nightclub off Coventry Road that we had heard good things about, so we decided to go there together. Simeon would have a fit if he discovered I was sneaking out to a nightclub or doing anything other than wrapping up in the blankets waiting for him to come home. I was bored. Why should the guys have all the fun and us girls have to stay indoors? We made a joint decision to take the risk. We discussed what we were going to wear and what we were going to accessorize it with, and we were both very excited. We worked out how long it would take for them to reach London because we knew they would call us to tell us they arrived. Simeon called me around 10:15. I made out like I was in bed and started yawning. "Oh, I won't keep you," he said. "Thanks, love," I responded and replaced the receiver. We had rotary dial phones back then. I called Patsy and asked her if she had heard from Jason, and she hadn't, so I told her to pick me up in an hour. My clothes were hung up on the wardrobe and ready, so it wouldn't take me long, and after I finished dolling myself up, Patsy rang the doorbell. I pulled the cream rain mac from the wardrobe, gave myself one last looking over, and ran to open the door. She was grinning, and so was I. We've got to get back by 3 a.m, just in case, because that is the time Burton closes, and it will take them a couple of hours to come back. She nodded gleefully, and we went off in her red and black Austin Mini Mark III. It was exciting being rebellious, but I knew from experience that rebelliousness had consequences. But I didn't care. Simeon was having fun. Why shouldn't I? We arrived outside the club, and there was a queue outside. A misty blue haze overshadowed the town, and the moon wasn't smiling. We finally got into the club. The club was like a blues dance. It was quite dingy and very dark. We had been there around 3 hours, and I was dancing with some guy who I was disinterested in. And from Patsy's face, she was disinterested in the guy she was dancing with too. I just happened to swivel round when I saw Simeon. I looked at my watch. It was only 1 o'clock. What the hell was he doing here? Had he been home first? Or had he come straight here? My heart started pumping. I didn't know what to do. I dropped to the floor and pulled Patsy down with me. We've got to get out of here. Simeon and Jason have just come in. The men we were dancing with must have thought we were crazy. I pretended I'd dropped an earring, and we stooped through the crowd towards the exit and ran towards the car and drove off. My heart was beating so fast. "He's going to kill me. He's going to kill me," I kept repeating. I wondered if he'd been home first. My body was rocking. I'd never angered Simeon before because I knew better not to. I didn't know what to expect, but I expected the worst. She shrugged her shoulders. "Do you think he saw us at the club?" Patsy was quiet. She knew she would be in trouble too. If Jason knew she was at the club, I could see she was nervous. I started wondering if Simeon was the type to hit women. I knew Patsy had told me that Jason had beaten her up a couple of times. Why the hell did we go out? We weren't even enjoying ourselves. We drove home in silence, each one of us fearing the worst. The excitement earlier had been quashed within seconds. She dropped me off. "See ya," I said. She nodded. I put the key through the room door and saw his cigarettes on the dressing room table. He had been home. I panicked. I sat at the bottom of the wardrobe shaking. I didn't know what else to do or where to go. If I was in London, I would have had options. It was one of those Beechwood rosewood wardrobe, solid and firm, but it was now shaking as if it was made out of plywood. It seemed like ages, but after about 10 minutes I heard him put the key through the door. My heart was beating loud. He burst into the room. "Oh, wait you there. Me no say you're there. I was trembling so much I must have made a noise in the wardrobe, and he opened the door. He looked. The look on his face. I still had my going out clothes on. "So is this you do when me gone out? When no one a die, you gone a street?" "No, Simeon, no, it was the first time." "First time, no?" He mocked and gave me one slap across my face with the back of his hand. I hid my face after that and allowed him to pummel into me. I kept telling myself it was my fault. I felt achy and in pain the next day and decided I needed to leave him and go back home to Mum. I was prepared for her taunts, her gloating. I couldn't take the licks. Oh, yeah. I think I'm going to make one more because we are now on 21. So, one more chapter and then my book will be finished. I hope you're enjoying it.